I remember the day. They tore me apart like I was nothing more than paper and ink themselves. I stood in the living room, clutching that fragile, battered, leather-bound book, an heirloom that had survived generations, while my family looked at me like I just declared I wanted to build castles out of clouds. They scoffed, laughed, called me foolish. My dream? To be a traditional bookbinder, to preserve the stories our family had cherished for centuries. But to them, it was an antiquated, pointless obsession in a world that had moved past paper, past craftsmanship. They said I'd fail. They said I was an embarrassment. "I'm wasting my time," I heard my father sneer, eyes narrowing, as he looked at the dusty tools I meticulously kept. "Do you really think anyone cares about old books in this digital age? You're chasing a ghost. You're a joke." My mother shook her head, her voice trembling with dismissiveness. "It's a dead art. You're better off chasing something modern, something real, something profitable." They dismissed my passion with a wave of their high-tech successes, coding apps, launching startups, making millions on algorithms, while I was obsessively restoring leather and paper. They believed I was absurd, fragile, stuck in the past. I was disowned, not formally, but in every subtle way that scar you forever. Their words became wounds, their rejection a fire that burned into my bones. But I refused to let their contempt define me. I couldn't, not when I had a calling so deep that it hummed in my blood. A legacy I refused to let die. I sold off my small apartment, my savings, and dedicated myself to the craft, pouring every ounce of my soul into restoring those heirloom books, into breathing life back into what they dismissed as relics. Years passed. I built my reputation quietly, one delicate stitch, one restored page at a time. And slowly, softly, the world started noticing. My work wasn't just about preservation. It became art, a testament to resilience, to heritage, to the stories that refused to fade. Each restored tome was a chapter of my own survival. I gained recognition, respect, and eventually a groundbreaking restoration project that changed the landscape of cultural preservation. Then I made my final move. The project that transformed me from a humble bookbinder to a force of nature, restoring a vast, barren landscape, turning it into a lush, thriving ecosystem. It was a challenge that seemed impossible at first. Barren earth, choking weeds, a wasteland of neglect. I saw in that land the same despair I'd once faced, dismissed, mocked, told I'd never succeed. But I believed in the power of roots, of legacy, of restoration. I used ancient techniques combined with modern science. Slowly, painstakingly, I cultivated life where death had reigned. And it worked. The land bloomed. Trees rooted deep. Rivers carved new pathways. And animals returned. The barren wasteland transformed into a vibrant sanctuary. The same land my family had once mocked me for trying to revive, my obsession, my ridiculous dream, had become an oasis of life. I had proven that heritage, patience, and perseverance could reshape even the most devastated places. Now, years later, I was returning home, not as the disowned daughter they'd spat on, but as a creator of miracles. I drove into the town with a mix of anticipation and quiet confidence. I knew what they'd see, something they'd never believed possible. And sure enough, as I pulled into the driveway of the house they once dismissed as a relic of irrelevance, they gathered nervously, eyes wide with a mixture of curiosity and skepticism. "Who is this?" I heard my father whisper, voice trembling. I stepped out, my hands carrying a leather-bound book, a restored family heirloom that had been lost to time, now gleaming with meticulous craftsmanship. My heart hammered in my chest, every step bringing me closer to their faces. Dad," I said softly, "I want you to meet someone." I unveiled the book. It was more than a relic now, an emblem of resilience, of the legacy I had fought so hard to preserve. As they stared, I watched their expressions shift from skepticism to awed silence. Then I led them to the window. Behind the house, that once barren land stretched out, vibrant, alive, teeming with trees, rivers, and animals. The very earth they had mocked me for claiming as hopeless was now a living testament to what perseverance could accomplish. I turned back to my family. "This is my proof," I said. "I never gave up on what I believed in. I believed in this land, in our stories, in what was buried beneath their cynicism. I proved that even what seems obsolete and forgotten can thrive again. I just needed to restore it, like an old book, like a piece of our heritage. That's what makes us who we are." They looked at the lush landscape and the beautifully restored book, silent. Their eyes welled with something I hadn't seen in years: regret, awe, maybe even a hint of pride. In that moment, I knew I had finally won, not through words, not through confrontation, but through silent, undeniable proof. I had turned their dismissiveness into recognition, their ridicule into reverence. And in the quiet that followed, I saw that transformation extended beyond land and pages. It was a testament to resilience, the truth that sometimes what seems dead or pointless just needs a little patience, a little faith, and a chance to thrive. The past no longer haunted me. I had reclaimed my legacy, my purpose, my dignity. And I knew with absolute certainty that the greatest triumph isn't just making a name for yourself, but proving to those who doubted you that their judgments were wrong, that the power of perseverance and heritage can transform even the bleakest despair into a masterpiece of life. That is the real legacy. And I hold it now, in my hands and in my heart, and I will never let go.